The Brown Park Podcast is brought to you by Grow Clinics. They're Australia's leading hair transplant clinics, and you can go to growclinics.com.au. I have a rare, child-free, wife-free night.
When? Now?
Tonight.
Get out of town. Did you? Do you?
Never, ever happens.
Oh, my God. Check the curtains when you come home tomorrow, Sarah.
Oh, my God.
The Brown Park Podcast.
Question.
Oh, God. Okay, yeah, what?
Do you think you're a good husband?
I would say that now, yes.
But earlier.
But earlier, I mean, it's taken a lot of work and a lot of perseverance from my wife. But now I would say I'm a good husband.
Yeah.
Years ago, probably not. I never listened. Did a lot of stupid stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, now, yes. Previously, no. Actually, when we started, yes. In the middle, not so much. Now, yes.
Okay.
So, there we go. You?
Yeah, same as you. At the start, yep, middle, not so much, and then after having done a lot of work, yes. I would say that I'm not perfect by any stretch, but I'm getting better.
Wash your mouth out.
But this is why we've decided that we're going to do every now and then a thing that we'd like to call the Good Husbands Club.
Welcome, and thanks for joining us in the Good Husbands Club. Now here's your hosts, Christo and Dion.
As we stand on our soapbox and judge everyone else.
Exactly, but the idea behind it is that we're going to get specialists on to try and help us be better husbands.
I love it.
And today's guest, she's a relationship therapist, she's a sex therapist and sexologist. She's also a columnist in a lot of national papers and online. Her name is Isiah McKimmie. Hello and welcome to the Good Husbands Club.
Thanks for having me, guys.
That's all right. What are we doing wrong? No, I'm kidding.
Because I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. It's
oh,
not
my
me.
God. Okay, do you want to have a chat to your wife? But we thought we'd get you on because so many women, particularly when we get to our vintage, I know you're a little bit younger than what we are, but they get to our vintage and they go, really? Is this what I'm stuck with? You're a relationship therapist. Is this something that you deal with a lot?
Yeah, I got a lot to say about this.
I've got my note and pad ready to go.
Get ready, strap in, guys. We know that women are more likely to be unhappy in their relationships, and not that I think the age difference is that much between us, but we see this across ages, and and there's a few different reasons for this. The obvious one is the mental load. Women are carrying the bulk of the mental, emotional load. They've often been asking for support and it just hasn't been met. And more, we have a lot of independence now as women. Women are saying it's actually easier to do it by myself than to be disappointed all the time or to feel like I'm on my own and to feel lonely in a relationship.
My wife has put it down to the mental load. She said a lot of it is like, I am the judge, jury and executioner of this family. And I mean, this happened to us a while ago and she just sort of said, I need you to step the fuck up and do something, because I was one of those guys that gets a bit complacent in the relationship because she tends to just take over and I'm like, oh, she's got this, that's fine. But the mental load is a big thing, right?
It's a big thing. And I think women also give more attention to relationships in general. It's part of how we're socialized to actually, kind of pay attention to what's happening between people. And, it is part of why women are also more unhappy in their relationships, because they're really looking at what's going on and what do I need around this. And men are often not giving the relationship that much attention. And sometimes it's a little bit of a coping strategy as well. I don't know what to do to fix my relationship. It all feels a bit hard. I just want to pretend that there isn't an issue. Or I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't know, we've got such a great life together. There's so much that's good. Why does she have to be looking at these things? And it just feels easier to kind of shut it off, to shut her down when she's bringing it up. And it means that these issues aren't really getting spoken about and they're not getting dealt with. Even a really good friend of mine, she told me, I went to visit, these two friends. She told me, we're really having issues. Like we need to move the relationship forward. Are we having kids? Are we not? Is he going to propose? Is he not? Things aren't great in the bedroom. There'd been a whole lot of challenges going on between them. And 9 months later, he called me and said, she's just broken up with me. It's completely out of the blue. I don't know why she'd do this. And I was like, man, I knew you guys were having trouble like nine months ago. And I know that she'd been trying to talk to him about it, but he just wasn't in a place where he could hear it, and it completely surprised him.
And I think what I want to ask is around it all, because it feels like when relationships start to slide, it's when you become more mates than lovers. And I think obviously we all need connection, but women, sometimes more so, like, because guys will get in that banter phase where, you give each other shit or whatever, and it's just like hanging out with a mate, which is completely toxic to your overall relationship and the love and connection.
Well, the friendship is an important part of it, but we need that passion and romance as well. Both people need to feel wanted and desired by each other, and that takes effort. Relationships, I often describe them as, usually when I'm talking to men, I'll kind of describe them as they're like a car. You don't just get this great car and like, oh, it's done with, it's going to be amazing. It's like you take care of it. You put fuel in it all the time. You take it to an expert sometimes. You get it checked out. You service it every now and then. Yeah, it's something we need to pay attention to.
So what are men then? Are we just like mopeds?
The mechanic.
So one of the things that you just mentioned, which was quite interesting, and this has happened to a number of people that I know, where the guy was literally caught off guard, had no idea that it was coming. And it's like, how could you not? The signs would be there. Wouldn't the signs be there?
Yeah. Because
don't women check out a long time before they officially check out?
Yeah. Like in any relationship where we're starting to see challenges, it's a slow progression. A lot of people think that the biggest reason that people break up is like, infidelity or big arguments, and it's not. The most common reason that couples break up is growing apart, and it's a really slow disconnect. They stop going out and having fun together. They stop those acts of romance. They stop, making those small amounts of time to be together. And then ultimately, especially if a woman has tried to bring up the challenges, the frustrations that she's having, and she's been shut down, or she feels like she hasn't been listened to, she'll often kind of give up, and she'll give up saying the negative things. And it can seem like, well, we never argue. It's often because one person's given up, but they've also given up going to their partner with those really positive things as well. So, something great happens at work, something great happens in their life, and they call someone else. They don't call their partner. They don't go to their partner to say like, hey, isn't this great? So the signs have often been there. When couples come to therapy, one partner has often been saying for a really long time, we need to do something, and the other's been saying, oh, I'm pretty happy. Everything's, pretty good from my point of view. And, and we know through research that it actually takes most couples 7 years from when they first start experiencing challenges to actually reach out for help. And that's if they do it all. That's if they haven't separated already by then, or they don't in future. So that is a long time that couples have usually been noticing things, but haven't wanted to deal with it, have felt like, gosh, we've got so much else on our plate. Like, can't we just get on with life, or can't we just be happy? And they just end up growing apart.
That's a lot of resentment over 7 years. Jeez.
It's a lot, yeah.
I just noticed that we both smirked at something you just said then with regards to our wives, because I know that I have been in that position where we sat down, I've been married for 22 years. Every marriage goes through its ups and downs.
Absolutely.
And at one point she was like, let's go to therapy. Let's go and see somebody and we'll talk, because I was going through my own depression, midlife crisis and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, we went to someone and she was telling me stuff that I have heard a million times, but in front of the therapist, I sat there and went, oh, what? What do you mean? Like as if I'd heard it for the first time when if I was truly listening to her, she's already said it, but I haven't taken it in until the point that we were there. And that was a real eye-opener. And she goes, I can't believe that was the moment that it clicked for you, considering I'd been talking about it for quite some time beforehand.
I mean, research would suggest that 7 years that she's been trying to tell you.
Probably.
What stopped you listening?
That's what I want to know. Because I don't listen all the time either. And I'm very similar to Christo. Maybe it's a dude thing. I'm not sure. I know for me, when I'm present and sometimes I'm not listening, I mean, my ADHD, I'm medicated for it now, but especially previous to that, my wife would say stuff to me and 2 seconds later it'd be gone, whether it be about our relationship, about something we had to do, and I don't even know why. I just switched off.
The switching off, yeah, it's a big one.
Christo, you?
I think, I don't know. I think it was just a complacency within the relationship.
Yes,
that I
right?
just thought, well, she'll always be there. It's fine. Hadn't let myself go. Nothing had happened. We've just had 3 kids. We had busy lives, and I just thought, oh, yeah, she'll always be there. Until one day she just sort of said, no, this is not good. I need you to fix shit. You are lazy and you don't do stuff. And I went, oh, what? What do you mean? And then set about changing myself and working on myself.
So how do we become more present then, Isiah? I mean, is there any tips you can give us to be more present in the moment when our wives are talking to us?
Absolutely. I love this question, Dion. And this is something that, that I deal with a lot in therapy. And I think, sometimes men actually are kind of taking this in, but then they're not able to kind of take action on it or let their partners know that they're really hearing them. So that's kind of another issue. It's like, yeah, I heard her. She's, this is going on, but they're not able to then communicate to their partner, hey, I hear you and I get it. And this is a big deal. Let's do something about this together.
So I have an example for you of while you're saying that. Sorry to interrupt, but mine was my wife would say, I'd ask you to do something. And it might be, we've got a bunch of stuff that we've done a clean out for and it's sitting in the garage and it's in the way of my car and it's annoying me. Can you take it to the tip? And I'd go, yeah, sure. And then the next week she'd go, hey, remember how I asked you about that stuff that's sitting next to the car? It's really starting to bank up and I hate it. It's gotten wet because of the rain and I find it hard to park. Can you take it to the tip? And then 3 weeks later she goes, you know how I told you about this? And I think it was those kind of things. And I realised that mental load was playing on her brain the whole time and that I was actually causing her more frustration than happiness, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it's important, right? That follow through and actually looking for the things that she doesn't ask because you're equal partners in the household. You've both you presumably got 2 eyes, then you can see what's going on around the house.
That's unless there's something shiny behind her, then I'm probably looking at that. But hey. But yeah, okay. So how do we be present?
The real kind of key here is also to notice what is it that happens inside of me that has me switch off or check out. This is really that self-awareness piece because so often for men it's, fuck, my wife's unhappy, my partner's unhappy. Like danger bells are going off in your mind. This is, and the coping strategy is shut it off, turn it down, de-escalate the situation by saying what she wants to hear, by just kind of letting her say her thing and, and checking out.
Okay.
That is so valid because I know historically things are different now where my wife and I are in a good place where we've worked together as a group to make our relationship better. But for sure, when she used to escalate, I would totally tune out 100%. I'd be like, here we go again. I've got to try to de-escalate, say everything she wants to hear. And just, I was totally not listening to anything she was saying at that point in time. Like, oh God, here we go again.
Yeah, our brain, we actually go into what we call like a flooded state at that point where we're actually overwhelmed. Our brain, in those states, our brain, not only can we not take in and process the information, our brain, we actually change the frequency at which we're able to hear things. All of the blood is actually like rushing to our inner organs at that point. This is like our body's going, this is a really dangerous situation. Like in case of like a loss of limb, let's send all the blood internally. And you absolutely can't process information when you're in that state. You certainly can't show empathy for what's just being said because you are in this overwhelmed state. She's upset. This is a dangerous situation. Let's shut this down. Let's get through this as quickly as possible. And for a lot of men, there is often that element of shame there as well. I've fucked up again. I'm the failure here. I've done something wrong. And the coping strategy for that is exactly as you said, Dion. Again, it's like the shutdown. Sometimes it's defensiveness. Let's turn it back around on her. Let me like explain or justify, let her know why I'm actually a really good person or why I did that. And all of that defensive, absolutely.
Or defensive.
All of that very often leads to, while there might be good intention behind it, leads to the partner who's kind of made the complaint or said, hey, I'm not feeling great around this, feeling even more unheard, which again, you're in a really unhelpful cycle together at that point. So it's slow things down, like really like, hey, I want to hear you. I'm struggling. I'm struggling. I notice that I'm about to become defensive here. Can we slow this down? Can we take a break? Can we come back to this in 20 minutes? Because I do want to hear you. And to really develop that self-awareness to know what emotion's being triggered that's having you check out and not listen.
It's so true because it's been a long road back, like because that's what I used to do. And even when we're in those moments now, when I say I want to listen, I want to be present, I'm hearing you. Even then, it's work for my wife to do as well because she's got so many years of me saying yes, I want to hear you, and like me just saying everything she wants to hear. So now when I genuinely want to hear and listen, she, it's been a process for her to actually go, okay, he means it this time. He's actually focused. He's hearing me. So there's that transition from being a dickhead into being somebody that is open and receptive to what they're saying.
Yeah, it takes both partners some time to do this and some time to rebuild that trust and connection when one person has been hurt a lot. And ultimately you've probably both been hurt in that dynamic because when there's an escalation, it's really painful as well.
This is the Good Husbands Club with Christo and Dion.
Big thanks to Grow Clinics for continuing to support the Brown Park podcast. And has your confidence dimmed alongside your thinning hair? Do you find yourself avoiding mirrors, hiding beneath hats, longing for the days your hair danced in the wind? Well, you're not alone. Hair loss can take a toll, but it doesn't have to steal your joy. With Grow Clinics, you can rewrite your story. They offer a path to rediscover your vibrant self, a journey towards a thicker, healthier head of hair, and their innovative techniques delivered by compassionate experts can transform not just your appearance, but your perspective. At Grow Clinics, they understand the emotional weight of hair loss. They believe in empowering you with personalised solutions, honest advice, and unwavering support. You're not just a patient, you're a partner in rediscovering your confidence strand by strand. So don't let hair loss dim your inner glow. Take the first step towards a fuller, happier you. Contact Grow Clinics today for a free consultation and learn how they can help you rewrite your narrative at growclinics.com.au.
This is the Good Husbands Club.
Brown Park.
So now this all would come down to intimacy, because this is something that you specialise in as well. If the guy's not paying attention to the small details that makes their partner happy and functioning and less of the mental load, you're going to get to the end of the day, kids are in bed, and the last thing she's going to want to do is anything with you because you've pissed her off. Is this right?
For a lot of couples, it is. And I always want to be really careful about talking about this because this, the stereotype in relationships, and I think the dynamic that we're most comfortable with talking about is that again, very stereotypical dynamic of heterosexual relationships, male partner has higher desire than the female partner. Very often, a male partner can lose their interest as well. And it's a female partner saying, hey, I want this, I need this, I need to feel wanted and desired as well, but something's going on for a male partner and they're shut down as well. But it is common, stereotypical that a woman is not getting her needs met. She is overwhelmed by the mental load. She's in a state of anxiety, which makes it really hard to feel turned on and to experience pleasure. And she's also feeling disconnected from her partner. So a lot of those things are often not conducive to wanting to be sexy at the end of the day. We know through research that having a strong relationship with good communication, a good friendship, a couple who can be playful together, they are going to have a more satisfying sex life and longer lasting desire than couples where that connection just isn't there.
Because then that can lead to other problems where the guy goes, well, I'm not getting any there. Oh, look, somebody shiny and new.
For both of them. So men will more often kind of initiate infidelity because of sexual dissatisfaction. Women, for women, it's more likely to be the emotional dissatisfaction.
So then, Christo, he's got 3 kids, right? So, that is a load for everybody.
Huge.
So,
huge.
How do somebody like him with such a big? So his wife works a pretty high end job.
Look, she is the primary breadwinner in this family. I have no. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. She works her ass off and she is good at what she does. We've both supported each other. My job is now on the less important scale, whereas at one point mine was the most important. We've swapped around and I have no problem with that. But then by the end of the day, you've got a full day's work, then being a mother, then, we're at that age now where family, you've got elderly parents, so you have to start taking care of them a bit more than what you had to. So it all just combines into one big brain fuck, I guess, for want of a better term.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So how do they manage that type of situation? Because for me, I've got one child. It's a bit easier for us to manage the day-to-day load, but for someone like Christo and his family, the day-to-day load is huge. So how do they work towards, I guess, keeping that intimate relationship and making each other feel sexy and attractive and connected?
Dion, block your ears.
Headphones off.
Look, it's a lot, and I really, really feel for couples who are in the trenches with young kids who are, trying to manage finances, mortgage, in this, kind of climate as well. There is so much pressure on families now, and that puts pressure on relationships. Firstly, when your relationship is strong, you're going to be able to deal with things better and you're going to deal with them as a team. When the relationship is experiencing problems, not only have you got all of that going on, but you're also both feeling alone in it and you're both feeling that pressure and that worry about the relationship on top of it. So we need to make sure that we are prioritizing the relationship in there. And for a lot of couples, it is about finding those small moments. So one of the things that we know is really important to relationships is having what we call rituals of connection. And let me kind of take a step back for a minute and say that there's 3 really important areas that you're always going to hear me talk about in relationships: connection, communication, and sexual intimacy. One of those leads to another. When a couple feels more connected, the female partner who's usually bringing things up, is kind of raising the challenges. She is going to do that often more gently when the couple is already connected, when there's that kind of connection and understanding there. So we need connection. We need couples having rituals of connection, small ways they connect every day, going out on date night, sending each other messages. We then need to be able to deal with conflict well. not shutting down, not escalating things, hearing each other, working together. That's going to be the foundation for great sexual intimacy. Sexual intimacy, we know, can help people feel connected. Often, especially men, that's the way they are given permission to be intimate in our culture. So that for both partners often feeds back into more connection. So connection, communication, sexual intimacy, we get a really positive cycle there. In terms of connection, it is taking those small moments. So it might be sitting down with each other, having a cup of tea at the end of the day, looking at where can we find an hour to ourselves for a date night, even if it's at home. And, you know, and in terms of sexual intimacy, what I often talk about with couples is where can you find time for a bedroom date? Not scheduling sex, but actually how do we make that part of the relationship a priority as well? And how do we set aside time for that the way we set aside time for a whole lot of other things in our life?
How good does Finnegan work on children? I just want to know.
This is the Good Husbands Club with Christo and Dion.
As always, we need to say a massive thank you to Grow Clinics for the continued support of our podcast. Now, they understand the power of confidence and they're here to help you rediscover yours. Say goodbye to insecurities and say hello to a more confident you with a cutting-edge hair transplant solution. Their state-of-the-art hair transplant procedures are designed to deliver natural results that seamlessly integrate with your existing hair. No two individuals are alike and neither are their solutions. Grow Clinic's experienced team tailors each treatment plan to suit your unique needs, ensuring optimal results and satisfaction. Regain control over your appearance and boost your self-esteem. A fuller head of hair can make a world of difference, and Grow Clinic's procedures are designed to empower you from the inside out. The team of skilled professionals at Grow Clinics are seasoned experts in the field of hair transplantation, so rest assured knowing you're in the hands of professionals dedicated to your well-being. Experience a hassle-free journey from consultation to completion. Grow Clinics is committed to providing seamless process, ensuring your comfort and satisfaction every step of the way. Don't let hair loss dictate your narrative anymore. Grow Clinics invites you to embark on a life-changing adventure, one that promises not just hair restoration, but a renewed sense of self and limitless confidence. Head over to their website at growclinics.com.au and tell them Brown Park sent you.
This is the Good Husbands Club with Christo and Dion.
Brown Park.
There was one thing that you mentioned that really hit home in what you were just saying, and that is the feeling of being alone. Now, I haven't had that, but that is a sentence that's come up with my wife in the past where she's gone, I felt alone. I felt like I was doing this on my own and you were in your own little happy little world. And yes, you're great with the kids and the kids love you and, you know, you're a great father. But I truly felt like I was doing everything on my own.
Well, because you were coasting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so painful, such a painful place to be. And if your partner says that, they're saying it for a reason.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. You weren't listening.
Oh no, I listened when she said that. There were moments in the relationship where you've had your moments where she and the good thing is that with my wife, she's very confident and very open to communication. So she's like, if she feels it, she'll say it, and you never have to doubt where you're at because she will just go, "I feel alone. You've hung me out to dry. What the fuck is going on?" And then so we can sort through our problems a lot easier. But the thing is, it's taken me a long time as a husband to get to the point of being able to do the same thing in reverse.
Oh, to be able to raise issues with her?
Yeah. Well, I guess it was and I don't know whether you've had this down, but it's a fear. You sort of go, oh, don't want to.
No, I don't. You know me.
I don't want to poke the angry beast. You will poke the angry beast, and you will poke away. But I don't want to. You don't want to cause any dramas, so you just kind of go, oh, I just won't talk about that. That's fine. Whereas I've had to learn how to communicate.
Yeah, it's true, and it's often for we kind of will categorize partners into a pursuing partner and a withdrawing partner, and more commonly men are emotionally withdrawing partners. And so in the same way they don't want to have those difficult conversations, they can kind of shut down when their partner's saying, hey, I'm upset about something. They'll also shut down often their own emotions because they don't want to have that difficult, painful, uncomfortable conversation. And it is learning that you also need the safety and trust in the relationship, that if I bring this up, if I share my vulnerable emotions, if I share my dissatisfaction, that will be heard by my partner, but also learning to go and connect with that dissatisfaction or those difficult emotions and be willing to bring them to a partner.
So you're a relationship therapist, sex therapist, and sexology. What's the number one complaint you get from women that could assist us be better husbands?
Good question. Good question. The number one challenge that I work with is a lack of desire in relationships. But again, what's really important is that there's connection and communication that goes with that. So for me, the best thing anyone can do to improve their relationship is learn to communicate well without going into, the blame or escalation or attack, but also really be able to listen to their partner, to validate what their partner is saying, to show empathy when their partner is sharing something, and be there. So I have lots of kind of exercises and tools around communication that I give couples. And for men, very often it's that learning to listen that is the biggest part of communication for them.
Okay, let's go. I want to go back to the start of a relationship. All right, so everything's hot and heavy when you first meet your partner. It's everything like, my God, that's brilliant. What happens to that? And how do we get back? Do you ever get back to that point? Because obviously, at the beginning of a relationship, there's a lot of getting along with the other person. Sometimes you might agree with something that they, usually wouldn't. I certainly kick back a whole lot more than I did when I first met my wife.
I mean, firstly, in that, what we call that honeymoon phase or kind of limerence is the term that, science uses around it, is there's a whole lot of hormones that are going through our body that influence our behavior. Being in love is a really great drug, and it's not sustainable, because we then kind of come down from that and realize like, oh, we've still got jobs that we need to pay attention to, lives that we need to live. Something that we know for women is when they get into a new relationship at any age, their sexual desire really spikes. So it's part of the kind of cocktail of hormones and endorphins that go on. That isn't to say that couples can't find a different kind of love that is still satisfying and fulfilling, and actually that kind of deepens over time. If couples want to maintain that sexual spark between them, we know again that it's important to maintain a really strong relationship, have those foundations of connection, good communication, you're making an effort with each other. And again, also that you're making sex a priority, that, it doesn't just happen. Things don't just happen the way they did at the start of a relationship. We have to be putting fuel in that car, or we have to kind of be watering the garden, these constant actions to keep everything really, really strong.
So going back to the very start of what we said, what do we do wrong?
Well, clearly we're not listening. Are you listening? Bro, come on. Jesus, your wife's really got some hard work.
It's a joke that comes back on itself. Thank you very much. Well, look,
You're an idiot.
Isiah, I think we've taken up too much of your time talking about this kind of stuff, but thank you very much.
My pleasure. I think this is always so important to talk about. We often expect that we're just going to know what to do around relationships, or that when we find the right person, it's all going to be smooth sailing from there. And I think we really need to normalize that it won't be, that every relationship, as you said, will experience challenges from time to time. And I think it's really important for people to know as well that there are actions that they can take either alone, but also that there's support available as well. There's very few areas in our life where we just expect ourselves to get it right. We go to financial planners, we go to coaches for all kinds of things, and yet we often kind of feel like, my God, there's something really wrong with me or our relationship if we need to go to someone to get support around this. But therapy has such a high success rate and can make finding the right actions to take, much easier. It can kind of really shortcut the process and stop both people having to go through so much pain and frustration. So I love that you guys have kind of opened up this conversation and really put it out there.
Before you go though, because I just thought of something then, because there's a lot of shame around a couple that is in that phase of not having sex. I'll hear their friends talk about having sex, it always makes, I know when my wife and I have been in a lull and we hear somebody or a friend say, having sex or whatever, you start feeling that, oh God, maybe, what are we doing wrong? How come we're not there? So it's that shame piece around it too that, potentially is being hidden in a relationship that isn't being spoken about.
Absolutely.
That needs
Absolutely.
To be.
And as well, we can also have challenges, with our relationship. All of us will experience challenges around sex from time to time as well. It's really normal. It's normal to have questions about it. And, seeing, a couples therapist and sex therapist, again, can help kind of shortcut that being a challenge. There is so much that we can do to keep both our relationships and our sex lives really strong and healthy. Most of us just weren't taught what it is.
Well, it was a taboo subject up until, I want to say it, but it's always been a taboo subject, but we're trying to put it on the table now so people are confident or feel, able enough to talk to people.
Yeah. Yeah, again, it's such an important conversation for us to have.
Well, maybe we can get you back into the Good Husbands Club one day to talk about the bedroom.
Happy to come back anytime, guys.
But Christo's going to listen.
What?
Listen.
Huh?
What?
Isiah McKimmie, look, you've got a website. We'll put all the links to your stuff in the show notes of this podcast. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. I hope this helped somebody. It may have helped me.
I think this has been good for you, mate. I think this is good.
You're not perfect either, mate.
Oh, come on. I'm coming off pretty good in this episode. I've got to take it. I've got to take it when I can.
Yeah, nice. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thanks, guys. Anytime.
Goodbye, and thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in for another episode of the Good Husbands Club, coming soon to the Brown Park Podcast.
Why are you happy?
Because I don't want to be sad.